Everyone thinks AI is the future, but what if it's just a mirror? And what if most leaders aren't ready for what it's reflecting back? Welcome to Dataliction Essentials, where we turn one powerful idea into 10 minutes that will make you think, lead, and grow. I'm John, and today we're going to talk about something that's been on my mind a lot lately. Not because it's flashy or even particularly exciting, but because it's quietly becoming one of the most defining challenges of this era. And I don't think that most people see it coming. It's not an AI moment. It's a human moment. And how we respond as leaders will determine whether we grow or we get lost in all of the AI noise that's out there. Let's start with the obvious. AI is everywhere, okay? You cannot avoid it. At conferences, in emails, on every website, in every demo. It's on the lips of every vendor, every consultant, founder, strategist, obviously even me. But just because it's everywhere doesn't mean it's being used well. Okay, hear that correctly. In fact, I'd argue most companies aren't really using it at all. They're just saying that they are. They slap on an AI powered on their proposal, and they white label an automation tool. They buy a license, and they run on some sort of brainstorm through ChatGPT. I've done that myself. But then they call it transformation. But it's not. It's just theater, okay? Beneath that surface level engagement is a much deeper issue that most teams don't understand what AI actually is or what it is actually capable of. And that misunderstanding leads to misuse, underuse, and worst of all, a false confidence. False confidence. We've seen this actually firsthand. Okay. If I could boil it down, I'd say this: leaders are overestimating the tool and then underestimating the actual shift that's happening. They think AI is just about efficiency, saving time, automating tasks, cutting costs. But they miss what AI, it doesn't just change how work gets done. It changes what work is. It changes expectations. It changes decisions, how things are being done and made. It changes the balance between creative thinking and technical execution. If you're not prepared for that, no tool is ever going to save you. So here's what's going on. Companies are burned out. Companies just burned out. They have been for a while. Leaders are tired, have been for a while. Teams are overwhelmed, again, have been for a while. And in the midst of all of that, AI shows up like a magic button. Whew, magic button. Press here and everything gets better and easier. Less meetings, less people, less decisions, less conflict. False. But leadership just doesn't work like that. You don't get to shortcut your way to impact. You don't get to automate your way to clarity. And that's where the real danger comes in. Because when AI becomes a crutch, we stop doing the hard human work like discernment, critical thinking, emotional connection, and culture building. The very things that actually drive that long-term growth. So let me give you an example, okay? One of the biggest mistakes that I see is leaders using AI to write instead of using AI to think. Okay. Follow me on this. It shows up in emails and proposals and strategies, even job descriptions. You can feel when something was written by a robot. We can. It's bland, generic. It sounds like everyone else. And it's not just a branding problem. That's not what I'm talking about. It's a thinking problem. Because when you outsource your voice, you start outsourcing your judgment. You stop wrestling with your own ideas. You stop sharpening your own clarity. And over time, that makes you a worse leader, not a more efficient one. Okay. That's why the best use, at least I would say, of AI is never substitution. It's a multiplication. Okay, multiplication, not substitution. AI should never replace you. It should push you. It should stretch your thinking, challenge your assumptions, help you test ideas faster, build mental reps, think through edge cases, identify blind spots. That's how great leaders are using it right now, not as a shortcut, but more of like a sparring partner, and not to avoid work, but to go deeper into it. Does that make sense? So let us go even deeper into this concept, because there's another trap that I have seen. It's even more dangerous. Again, I would suggest it's what I call the over-agentic optimism, agentic and agent, okay? The belief is that we're one bot away from freedom, one voice agent, one customer service tool, one smart assistant, one super system that finally fixes it all. Obviously, I'm a bit jaded. And that belief leads to some terrible decisions. Leaders buying software that they don't understand, teams chasing trends that they can't even support, investors just throwing money at things with no real backbone. And the most frustrating part, sometimes the tool actually is legit, but the teams using it, they just weren't ready. The data was too messy. The workflows are just too chaotic. The expectations are too unrealistic. And so the whole thing collapses, not because that AI was bad, not at all, but because the foundation that you put the AI on was. Does that make sense? So what's the antidote? Of course, I'm going to give you some hope here. Okay. Start with humans, not hype. Ask better questions. What are the real bottlenecks? Wait, where is your team actually wasting time? What decisions are slowing you down? What habits are hurting growth? And then, and only then, ask if AI can help. Because if you skip the human clarity, all you're doing is scaling confusion faster. So, one of the most powerful ideas that we've wrestled with recently is that structure is strategy. Structure is strategy. And I think that applies here too, okay? If your AI implementation doesn't fit the structure of how your business actually operates, your culture, your workflow, customer experience, that AI will actually just create more drag than it will lift. So don't just look for the tool that sounds impressive. They all sound impressive. Come on, let's be honest. Look for the one that actually fits your rhythm, your people, values. Be ruthless about testing before scaling, okay? Testing before scaling. It sounds simple, but please do it. Here's the other truth. AI will reveal the quality of your thinking. Oh, that hurts. It will amplify whatever you give it. So if you feed it garbage, it will give you very polished garbage. Polished garbage. If you feed it clarity, it will give you speed. Okay. So the quality of output will always depend on the clarity of the input. This means, most importantly, that AI is a skill. And you know what? It's still a human skill to put that data in. We've also made plenty of mistakes, as team, as just society right now. We've tried to automate too much, tried to over-engineer processes. I know I've done that, that didn't need to be fixed. I've tried to force AI into different parts of the businesses that weren't quite ready. Every single time, I'm telling you what, it's taught us, our clients, the exact same thing. Just because you can does not mean that you should. Okay. There's a wisdom gap right now that really no tool can fix. And if you're not careful, your effort to go faster will actually slow you down. I've seen that firsthand. So here's my final thought. If you're feeling overwhelmed, first, you're not alone. Okay. That's very, very normal right now, feeling overwhelmed. If you're unsure who to trust, that's very valid. Okay. If you're unsure of what AI even is anymore, you're also not crazy. The space is super noisy. The options are literally endless. But at the end of the day, the businesses that are winning are the ones that stay human. The ones that lead with clarity, the ones who listen, ask better questions, take the time to think. The ones who don't chase AI as a savior, but treat it as a partner. Oh, great. I love that. Because that's what this moment really is. It's not an AI moment. It's a human one. And your job as a leader is to show up for it. Thanks for listening to this Dataliction Essentials episode. For your next step, please sign up for our newsletter. You can get all of our tools, our wisdom, our experiences. We're going to help you know how to use AI to move your company forward. Let's keep taking data and turning it into action, and that action to help you grow on purpose.